Hey guys, welcome back to the review and discussion for Unordinary. This week, we're discussing episode 263. And it's bad. It's bad. It's the worst chapter of Unordinary ever published whatsoever. Like, what the fuck is Uru even thinking? Why would she make that ending last week? Like, why would she choose to push the story this way? I can't even think of any good outcome for any of this. Like, is she fucking insane? Holy shit, I can't even begin to tell you how bad this is. I'm fucking done with this series. It's absolute dog shit. It always has been. I'm done. Okay, now we actually have to talk about this chapter. Um I'm not going to hold back. I'm not. I don't like this chapter. I don't. I don't. Um so yeah, this discussion is going to be a little more mean, I guess you could say. Uru, if you watch this, and to everyone watching this, I'm still a fan of Unordinary. I'm still going to stick with the series. This is probably no, the Arlo chapter pissed me off pretty hardcore too. This is one of my least favorite chapters, just because of how I feel personally. Everything being said in this review is completely my opinion and my opinion alone. Like I said, I'm still a fan of Unordinary at the end of the day. I'm still going to keep reading it. But this chapter really just bothers me, and specifically the ending to this chapter. Now, with that being said, first things first, I want to get this out of the way. The things that this chapter does right. And this chapter does do a few things right, actually. It does quite a few things right. Now, a really nice story element that I think worked well for a webtoon, or for any series really. Like, it could be pulled off in any way, in a multitude of ways, in any type of medium. Now, the countdown effect from 1122 onward was a really cool way of showing the time move in the story and counting down while reading, which would either lead to clearly the end of their dampened status or something going horribly wrong. We all know where that goes. Another really cool thing that happens in this chapter is everyone in the club seeing not just Blake and Ison, but John as well, fighting to protect them, and people acknowledging that. It just happened very briefly, and it just, it was just, I just thought that was a nice touch. Like, people seeing John, again, like I mentioned in the last review and discussion with Blake in reference to John, just like over an hour ago, or probably less than an hour. Actually, no, in this case, less than an hour ago, they were all terrified of John. They all thought that he hadn't changed, that he was going back to his old ways to hurt people and hurt everyone. And I'm glad to see that that's being taken away. That's not happening anymore. They're seeing John protect them. They're wanting him around. Another really cool thing that I liked, again, it's happened the last few chapters, but I like Blake stepping up when John needed it most. Blake handling off the rest of the Spectre crowd while John and Ison were taking out the last sniper. I like that Blake, again, this is something that is happening fairly quickly, but I still like that Blake is showing trust in John. I like that, Blake knows that John has good judgment in everything. One other thing, continuing to see John step up as king, whether he wants to or not. I do think it's possible that John could actually retake the throne, the name of king at Wellston, and finally come to terms with accepting that title. If things happen the way a lot of people think that they could happen. So John is stepping up as king again, guiding both Ison in the situation still, like the plan ahead, and also telling the safe house, and also like giving orders to the safe housers, trying to get them out of there as quickly as possible. So I like that we see I like that we see good King John. You know, he's not perfect still, but, you know, it's effort. It's effort. The final stretch of this episode, Blyke, Ison, and John versus the invisible enemies. It is really suspenseful. It does build up a lot of suspense because you do keep thinking, oh, Ison has a hold of Terrence. Oh fuck, that's not Terrence. It was, you know, it was suspense. It was good suspense. It was good suspense. I like that was a really good twist, dude. Like, way to go. The one second to last thing, John's demise is completely in line with John's character. John saw that there were multiple people with Terrence's aura, or coated in Terrence's aura, as he put it. And the one person he saw sneak up on him, he thought immediately was Terrence. So instead of just, the guy was already, you know, taken care of, he shot him, knocked back away from John, but John decided to reach out to the guy and treat him as if he was Terrence and wail on him, which led to him getting captured by Terrence and led to the ending of the episode. So, thoughts aside on that, which we'll discuss later, John's demise is in line with his character, in line with who he is. We saw it the other day with the Rowden Royals, where he lost control again. Once again, John lost control again, and he got a little too worked up, and he lost focus on everything at hand. This chapter does also confirm that the dampener does indeed last about an hour or so. What is the exact time on that, actually? So everyone got dampened, I think, at 11:30 or 10:35. I think is when it was. Yep, 10:35. So dampener lasts about an hour. So cool, we got confirmation on that finally. All right, now what I don't like about this chapter, and once again, these things are purely my opinion. This is how I feel after reading this a few times still. So first things first, Uru's kind of messing with the times. Now, ultimately, this is Uru's series, and she can decide when time is what the fuck it is. You know, she adds the time bubbles for a reason, but I just think it's strange. I think it's weird that in episode 262, the episode before this, the last time check that we had was 11:15 a.m. Now, usually when Uru, before the next time Uru gives a time update is when events that come after that time bubble, that's when those events happen. And so 11:15, or Terrence's discussion where he said the dampener should wear off in about 15 minutes, that happened at 11, or in the last episode was shown after the 11:15 bubble. Before, it was right before the 11:20 bubble, but like I said, usually Uru just has, you know, the time skip events, or the time update events happen after that said time bubble. But she starts out this chapter at 11:20 instead, and then shows us that that's when Terrence said we have about 15 minutes before the dampener wears off. Now, like I said, it just felt a little strange to me. I wish that the update with Terrence in 262 would have been at 11:20. So that's just a nitpick, really. And honestly, a lot of these are nitpicks. A lot of my complaints are nitpicks just because of how bitter the ending makes me to this chapter. So just one other thing. There's no way that Terrence is the 9th strongest student at Wellston. I've been beating this like a dead horse at this point, I know, but Terrence, like, what he's doing with his ability right now, there's no way that a middle ground height or elite tier should be capable of any of this. Invisibility, like spreading it to other people, because John even specifies that these people are coated in Terrence's aura. So I don't buy for a second that Terrence is the ninth strongest. Terrence can't be a level 4. If he was going to pull some bullshit that he is just a level 4.1 or whatever the ninth strongest student is, I don't accept that. Like, that shouldn't be possible. It's just fuck Terrence. And speaking of Terrence's ability recovery seems really strange to me. Incredibly strange, because he's practically still been dampened for most of the time as of the start of this chapter. Because at the start of this chapter, at 11:20, he states he was it seems that his ability had fully recovered at that point. And he took it around 11-ish, I think 11:02 to be example, is when that time bubble was shown. But, Uru decides whatever time is. But, like I said, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, okay, it took him roughly 30 minutes to get away from the group to where he could take the ability, the undampener or whatever I fucking called it, and took about 18 minutes or so to finally recover from it. It just seems strange to me. Like, is she trying to buy time, for everything else to drag on and then the big reveal at the end? I don't, like, it just seems strange to me that, like, she would go out of her way to show the undisabler from Terrence, yet still have Terrence take, or in the story, still have Terrence take almost as long as everyone else to fully recover their ability. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know. Whatever. Now, for the big one. The ending to this chapter, which we all know at this point. Terrence getting a hold of John. Assumedly Terrence. It looks like Terrence. Now, getting a hold of John and inserting the disabler into John. Now, I believe it is the disabler because it is still the same. All the needles that were used in this episode, on like where they tried to inject all of John, Blake, and Ison, they were all the same color as the needle that was injected into Sarah way back when. And if memory serves, they were also the same that was almost injected into Arlo. Way back when him and Sarah were meeting up with Layla at the cafe back in episode 215. So it was that lightish blue color. Yeah, the lightish blue color. And the episode with Layla, though, it's kind of more of a teal. I don't know. Now, I don't like where the routes that I can think of where the story goes from here. I don't like any of them. And like I said, I don't like them. The first one I think makes the most sense. It makes the most sense storytelling wise. Now, I've been saying for the last few videos and everything, I like that John's finally coming to terms with his ability. I don't want John to lose his ability because he's finally coming to terms with it. But that's a fine storytelling choice by Uru. I don't like it, but it's fine. Because it's kind of a thing of Sarah. And now that I think about it, I actually don't like it even more because we've already had this with Sarah where the character doesn't realize what they had until it was gone. And that was a big thing with Sarah. She mentioned she took her ability for granted and everything. Now that I'm thinking about this more, we've already had that storyline with Sarah. So why bother telling it again with John? Wow, I just pissed myself off even more. So yeah, why have all this development with John coming to terms with his ability and just take it away? I don't like it. And like I just brought up, this has already happened with Sarah, and Sarah's already getting her ability back and she's belonging to Spectre and everything now, and she's kind of in this rat hole. Yeah, I don't like that option. Personally, I don't. It's a storyline that we've already seen in Unordinary, and why bother reusing it? Like, I don't know. The second choice, which a lot of people in the comments have been saying, Jon is immune to the Disabler because it's possibly has not been confirmed yet, but it's highly speculated in the fandom, like a lot of things are. It's from his mother's genes. Jon's probably immune to it. There's no fucking reason that Jon should be immune to it. As much as I would like that, I'm going to be honest, as much as I would like that to happen, as much as I would like Jon to be like, oh shit, like what the fuck? Like I just got injected with the Disabler, but I feel fine. Where does that come from? Where does that come from? And again, Uru has been really good with storytelling and like knowing how the mechanics of her world works. But that being said, I feel like this is something that should have at least been touched on way long ago, or even just a few chapters or so ago. And Jon just being immune to the Disabler, just like for some whatever reason he can't copy a mental ability, despite that it's aura that his ability is related to. I don't like it. Like, no, that's just a Deus Ex Machina that he should just be that because it's his mother's DNA, it doesn't work on him. I don't like that. Like, it just feels completely pulled out of a hat, and I personally don't think it makes sense. I don't know the science of all this stuff. Uru probably does. She's probably researched it a little bit more. But I don't like that choice. I don't like that, oh, I just made you think that Jon was disabled, but he's actually immune for such and such reason, so don't worry. That's also another thing that I don't like in storytelling. I don't like being pulled along like this. Like, I don't like when you have to make me worry, but then you just yank it away. I don't know how to describe it. I don't like this kind. I wouldn't like a back and forth kind of thing where it's like, haha, this suspense, but it meant nothing because Jon's completely okay. I don't like that. Now, a third possibility is that this is to introduce Jon's relative, be it uncle or grandfather, from Claire's vision. Why do it this way at all? Like, why have it be like, I could understand if Jon gets disabled, then like grandpa or uncle comes over to Wellston and is like, Jon, I heard you just got disabled. Let me help you get it reactivated. Again, that's kind of a Deus Ex Machina if Jon's uncle is a good guy. That's just kind of a Deus Ex Machina that I think, then again, that could also be how Sarah gets her ability back completely too. But if Jon's a bad guy, if Jon's uncle's working for Spectre, if he's a bad guy and he's like, hey, like if you want your ability back, like, I had you disabled for a reason, Jon. And like he's gonna hold it against Jon, like he's the key to getting Jon's ability back, but he wants him to work for Spectre. Why do it this way? Why get Jon under his control this way? You could easily just use Sarah for a target for that. Sarah as a crutch to him for that. Like Jon's uncle just comes up to Jon like, hey, so yeah, you guys ruined Sarah's mission. She doesn't have any trust in Spectre, so we're not going to treat her anymore unless you work for Spectre. Only then will Sarah continue to receive treatments from us. Like I was saying, I just don't like any options that are here in this episode, or where this episode ending can go. Now, Uru most likely has a plan. She does most likely have a plan. A lot of you have been saying that, and I think that Uru will make the right decision, but I'm not sure that I could like any decision that Uru would make. Tomorrow's episode will probably be cool. Sarah's about to show up. So it'll probably be cool. Things will probably be as good as they can at the end in the end. But yeah, at the end of the day, I don't like this chapter. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not a horrible chapter. I can't say that it's a horrible chapter. Like I said, the chapter does a lot of things right. So I will give this episode, I'll give this episode a 5 out of 10. Yep. And that is the lowest score we have ever had as of me doing scores for episodes. Yeah. I don't know. I really hate this chapter, actually. I really hate this chapter. But you know what? Not every chapter since the return was guaranteed to make me smile, to satisfy me, and that's fine. Every series has that. Every series has its down moments. This chapter is unfortunately just one of them for Unordinary. So yeah, that's it. I'm done talking about this chapter. See you guys later.